So Dr. Rozanski, tell us a little bit about your study and what you found.
So the first study that has looked at the relationship between heart disease and optimism, which was the goal of our study, was only published in 2001, which is quite recent. But since then, there's been quite a proliferation of studies. And now there's been over 15 published studies, over 230,000 individuals. So the goal of our study was to look at this statistically using the most rigorous techniques we have called a meta-analysis. We found that the optimists, those who scored themselves more optimistic as opposed to pessimistic, had about a 35% reduction in cardiac events. That includes heart attack, stroke, and cardiac death. And this is an effect that's comparable to that which you see with some conventional risk factors such as hypertension and depression and social isolation and anxiety.
So if you want to have good cardiovascular health, it's a really good idea to learn to be optimistic.
Well, on two grounds. One is that, there is this relationship we found, but we find that optimists just tend to be more proactive about their future. We found that they're more likely to exercise, more likely to eat well, less likely to smoke. And in part, it seems that when you have positive thoughts, you have positive feelings, you have more agency, you have more energy. So that's part of the relationship.
What are some steps that a pessimist can take to become more optimistic?
So we see that in these matters, there's no one size that fits all, but there's a few principles that are quite profound and seem to help. One of them is the power of first steps, where you get people to problem solve better. So you identify a specific, meaningful issue that a pessimist wants to work on, and you help them work through that. And positive results breeds positive thoughts and feelings, and they get going. The second is that you try to get them into a positive thought zone. Trying to tell a pessimist just think positive thoughts doesn't work too well. But we try to work with gratitude, because it's like, as you say, the glass is half full, half empty. Maybe they can't work with that, but they can see, wait, I got a glass. It's got water in it. I can lift the glass. I can see the glass. So you work with gratitude. The third is very important, which is getting them to reframe. Pessimists tend to think more pessimistically, that their problems are going to be more permanent. They have other negative self-talks. So there's techniques we have to help them reframe. We work with them in getting them to dispute these negative thoughts. We actually start by getting them to first see the negative thinking they're having. Just to see it gives them say-so in the matter. Then they can start to say, well, do I really trust this thinking? So they learn how to dismiss it. And then finally, we teach them how to reframe.